All right, good morning, analyzing and displaying data students. This video is going to cover the side-by-side bar graph notes. You can find this in Canvas. It is something that you need to turn in for credit, so go ahead and open it up and follow along with me. We are starting Unit 2. We are going to be continuing talking about charts, but they are going to get a little more sophisticated in this unit, and this unit is much shorter than Unit 1. So some things we're going to be talking about are side-by-side bar graphs, stacked bar graphs, two-way data tables. We're going to show some Venn diagrams and tally mark tables. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to slide 2. And we're just going to fill in these yellow boxes regarding this side-by-side bar graph. So it looks like a bar graph, right? The difference being that the music categories are being divided by favorite genre of music for boys and for girls. How many answered what? Okay, so we'll go ahead and fill in and double click in these yellow boxes to get the cursor to pop up in there. So according to the bar graph, how many boys like country music? So we'll go over to country, look at the blue column, that's the boys. It's halfway between 8 and 10. So 9 for that. How many girls like pop music? So the orange bar under pop goes up to 10. How many boys are represented in the chart? All right, so sometimes people goof this up. They look maybe at the tallest boy column, or they look at the biggest number in the frequency. And what we need to do is add up all of the boy bars. So under rock, it's 10. Under pop, it is 15. All right, and you get the idea. 8, 9, and 5. So adding all those numbers up, that adds up to 47. Okay, so we'll do the same for the girls. All right, and is there anything you find interesting about the chart? So a couple of things that were pointed out in class. Maybe that there's a different number of boys and girls in the chart, which could make it seem a little strange. It could artificially make the boy columns look a little higher, I suppose. So that was kind of interesting. The chart itself starts at 0, and that's important. And the increments along the side are even, so that's important. I mean, everything about the chart is legitimate. So there are different number of boys and girls in the chart. I'm just stepping back, also looking at it is, I don't know if it seems strange to you that more girls like rock music and more boys like pop. I would have thought it would be the other way around, but I guess that's not any problems with the chart. Alrighty, let's go on to slide 3. Okay, so here's where it's going to get a little tedious. And these boxes you cannot double click in. Oh, yes, you can double click in them. All right, so double click in the boxes. So we are going to just fill in those same numbers. We're going to have to go back and forth between the two slides. But what were the frequencies for boys who like rock? So if you jump back up and look, it was 10. So 10. And I just have them jotted on my paper so I can be a little more efficient on these notes here. I'm going to go ahead and fill them down. And it was a total of 47. All right, the relative frequency. That means percent. What percent of all the boys like rock? So we had to do that computation, right? We take the frequency number and divide it by the total. And then we are going to times that by 100. All right, and let's go ahead and just round it to an actual whole percent. So that actually would round to 21%. Okay. And then we just continue that computation all the way down. 32%, 17%, 19%, 11%. And adding them all up, Depending on your rounding and whatnot, sometimes they add up to 99, sometimes 101. This, I think, ended up adding up to 100%. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and you guys go ahead and fill out the girls. All right, so now the girls chart is filled out. I didn't really explain why we needed to do relative frequencies, but another way that we can show a side-by-side bar graph is to stack a bar graph. And in order to stack the bar graphs, we have to use relative frequencies, as in we're going to be using percents. So on slide 4, we're going to generate a stacked bar graph. And this really was the slide that does take the most amount of time. All right, so we have these columns, categories right here, and we are going to fill them. They should fill up to 100%. So you don't want to stop your chart, with all your little bars at 60% or something. So the easiest way to make these work is to click on the bar, and I'm just going to click it over with my arrow keys. That seems to work better than dragging it. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, hold down your shift key and do the fine tuning with the arrows. Okay, so now I've got my bar for boys who like rock, but now it's only set at 10%. So we're going to jump up to the slide 3. Boys who like rock was 21%. So I need to stretch my column here to 21%. So I'm going to stretch it to a little bit over 20%, right? And this is not going to be an exact science. All right, next category was pop. And if you wanted to build your column so that jazz was on the bottom, that would be okay as well. Okay, so here's where it starts getting more complicated. Pop was, going back up to look, 32%. All right, so, the boys rock was at 21, so you could add 32 on top of that to see where it would end up. Or you could just kind of be like, okay, 32%. I mean, this is starting at just about 20%. So that would be up to 30% would be 10, 20, 30. It was at 30, 21, so we'll go to 31 and then 2% more on top of that. So, I mean, we're talking there-ish. All right. Next category was country. So country is 17%. Okay, so 17%. I mean, it's close to 20%. So I'm going to just think about counting it as 20% and then scooch it down just a little from 20. All right. And I'm going to hold down my shift and fine tune this so it kind of sits in there nicer. Okay. So I'm kind of in the mid 50s to the mid 60s. That's 10%. And then if I went into the mid 70s, that would be 20%. So I'm going to back off a little bit. So, because I don't want to do a full 20%, I'm only 17%. All right, classic is 19%. That's close to just a full 20%. So I'm going to take the classic, move it over full 20%. So I'm at like low 70s, low 80s. I'm going to go to low 90s. Oh. And jazz is 11%. Oh, all right. It's definitely not an exact science. I feel like I only have 9% left for jazz, but I'm supposed to have 11%. I must have done one of my columns a little too tall. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll see if we can make that work. Okay, so let's do it again with the girls. So girls and rock are 31%. Let's grab the girl bar over here. That's the first one's the easiest one to do. We're going to stretch that one to 31%. 31%. So that one stretches way up there. Okay, pop is going to be the next one. Pop goes for girls 26%. All right, so right now pop, that's about 10%. That's about 20%. Let's see, we're at 26, a little over halfway through that. All right. Country. Okay, so we're kind of in the mid-50s. Country for girls is 18%. So that's 10%, 20%, back off a little, maybe 18. Classic is 10%. Okay, I feel like these bars just naturally are spaced about 10%. Okay, and jazz should be 15%. Let's see if we did this one better. So this is about 15%. That looks better, right? That's about correct. One of my bars is off on the boys. You guys can see if you can find it. I don't want to take the time on the video. All right, so then you can just look and be like, yeah, the rock really jumps out as more girls in rock, more boys in pop. I mean, classic, I think must be the one that I goofed up. I probably did classic a little too much, but more boys did like classic music than girls. All right, so that's the side-by-side bar graph and the stacked bar graph. Now let's go on to a few other things. These next slides go much quicker. So if you're getting a little tired, then don't worry. The one thing about this two-way data chart right here is that you can't click in those boxes. So you have to go grab your text box and make a text box. Let's see, I don't know. I might just stretch one out across the entire row there. And then I don't have to put 3 separate ones in across there. Okay, so the way these two-way data charts work, these are very common in any statistics class, knowing how to read these. It's another way to represent your data. And it is used when we have more variables that we're trying to keep track of. So this chart over here is about getting to school. And it is, again, separated in how do boys get to school compared to girls. All right, so we're looking for girls who bike or skateboard. All right, so girls who bike or skateboard is this column right here. And it goes up to 6, right? So we'll put a 6 there. All right, boys who bike or skateboard was 9. And then we're just going to add those two numbers up. Okay, maybe I will. I'll just hit enter instead of putting in a bunch of different text boxes. And carpool. All right, now we're looking for girls who carpool. All right, so I'll go over here to find it. Girls who carpool, 14. Boys who carpool, 2. And that is a total of 16. All right. Bus riders, girls who ride the bus, 20. Boys who ride the bus, boy bus riders, 15. Add those ones up. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and do our totals. So the totals there's 2 different totals columns. So I guess we do kind of have one of our totals columns already in place, but if we add 6 and 14 and 20, we'll get how many girls are represented in the chart. So that looks like 20 plus 20 is 40, right? So that would be me adding up all the girl columns over here. Okay. How many boys are represented in the chart? I'm just going to add these 3 numbers up right here. They go to 26. And when you get to this bottom corner right here, if you've done your math right, then the column total and the row total should both add up to the same number. So it's easier to add these rows together. It looks like 66. Let's just verify when I add the column up. I get 35, 45, 50, 60, 66. Yep. All right, so that's really all it is, right? We're just getting our data from our side-by-side bar graph over into the two-way data chart. All right, another two-way data chart. This time we're going to be getting our numbers off of the Venn diagram. It is the most complicated one that you probably have to do today. All right, so it's a strange survey, but some people were surveyed about whether or not they're wearing yellow and whether or not they have blue eyes. Okay, so you can see the wearing yellow circle. All these people are wearing yellow. All right. All these people have blue eyes. The people in between are the ones who are both, right? They're both wearing yellow and they have blue eyes. And then the 20 people represented in this corner are the ones who don't have blue eyes and they're not wearing yellow. So we just got to get, this is a true data, two-way data table. This is what you see a lot in statistics. So we're going to use the Venn diagram to fill out the data table, right? So this box where my cursor is blinking, I have to fill in all the people who have blue eyes and are wearing yellow. Okay, and that's the 10 people in between the two circles. Then I think you can just hit tab to get to the next box. All right, how about in this one, people not wearing yellow that have blue eyes? All right, so not wearing yellow, but have blue eyes. So it looks like it's going to be these 30 people right here, right? Because all of these people right here have blue eyes, but they're not wearing yellow. All right, so that is 40 people. Okay, next row down, the people who do not have blue eyes but are wearing yellow. So no blue eyes, but they're wearing yellow. Those are these two people right here. And then this corner is reserved for the people who are not wearing yellow and do not have blue eyes. So that's the 20 people that didn't make it into any of the circles. They don't have either. All right, add those up, 22. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add a column here. So that's 12, 50. If we've done our math right, we should end up with the same number in both total columns will fit in this box right here. So that is 66 adding the rows up and 62 adding the rows up and 62 adding this row up, column and row instead of backwards. Okay, and last screen, this one's easier, but these are some tally mark charts, and we're just going to fill in our two-way data chart from here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to make this all be in the center. I don't know if you guys want to do that. All right, so how many 12 to 13-year-olds ride the bus? So ride bus, 12 to 13-year-olds, 5, 10, 15, 20, 24. All right, how about 14 to 15-year-olds who ride the bus? 5, 10, 12. 16 to 17-year-olds who ride the bus, 5, 10, 14. So we add those up, they add up to 50. All right, how about people who do not ride the bus? Okay, so we'll just kind of do the same thing. 16, 13, 21. And it just so happens that the people who do not ride the bus, there's also 50 of them. All right, so let's go ahead and add all the 12 and 13-year-olds together. 40. Add all the 14 to 15-year-olds together. 25. Add these guys together. 35. So let's hope the row adds up to 100 and the column adds up to 100. Now the column's easy to see, that's 100. So that's 40, 65, 75, 85, 95, 100. All right, so that was the last slide. Your homework is very similar. You need to get into Canvas, click on the Cami worksheet, and do the homework. To turn this in, just return to the Canvas tab where you opened, and you should be able to hit submit. Sometimes you have to resubmit or refresh your browser if your session has timed out, but refresh your browser, all the work you just did will show up there in Canvas, and go ahead and hit submit.